All right. So turn in your books to page 68 and 69. I'm not talking about you. The newsletter and what else did I have? That's it for me, right? And one copy of the lesson plan.
But it's not front and back like you said.
What? What's not front and back? Be quiet. That's right. That's right. All right. Okay. All right. Explain the difference between dividing in half and dividing by half. All right. So just say you are going to divide something in half. Let's just say I had $6 and I want to divide it by 3 people. No, 2 people. I'm sorry, 2 people. Okay. If I had $6 and I want to divide it by 2 people, right? That means I got 2 groups, right? I have 3 in this group and I have 3 in that group, right? So this is 6 divided by 2. Okay, I got 2 groups of the same number. Okay, so this is dividing in half. This is when I divide something in half. I got 2 groups. Now, if I want to divide something by a half, that's 6 divided by a half, right? So if I'm going to divide 6 by half, okay?
Over 1. 6 over 1.
So I have 6 things, right? And I'm going to divide them in half. Okay, now how many halves do I have now?
None.
12.
12. 6 times 2 is 12.
Okay, so I got 6 things, and each thing has 2 parts. So that's 6 times 2, which is 12. Okay, over here is 6 divided by 2, which is 3. Hurry up. Ma'am, 69. 69. 69. Be quiet, it doesn't matter. Okay, turn around, George. Stay turned to the front. All right. Dr. Ers, don't worry about the rest of these 2 pages because I kind of went over them. I'm just going to move on and give them some more examples that we can go over. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is show you a video on.
It's cool. I'm going
to show you a video on Learn Zillion. No. Say y'all stop talking to plan over there. Take that purse off, put it up, and pay attention to the board. Now, all right.
Fraction, like 2 divided by 1/4. One way we can think of it is how many groups of 1/4 are in 2 wholes. In this, you are going to learn how to divide mixed numbers by fractions using models. You already know that when we divide whole numbers by fractions, like 2 divided by 1/4, one way we can think of it is how many groups of 1/4 are in 2 wholes. We also know we can use a model to find out. If we know there are 4 groups of 1/4 in 1 whole, we also know there must be 8 groups of 1/4 in 2 wholes, just like we see here in our model. So 2 divided by 1/4 equals 8. Now I know some of you genius mathematicians are thinking that's the same as 2 times 4. You're right, we'll learn more about that later. For now, I'm going to show you how we can use models when we divide mixed numbers by fractions. Let's say I have 2.5 pounds of hamburger meat. I want to use it to that weigh 1/4 pound each. How many hamburgers can I make? In order to find out how many groups of 1/4 are in 2.5, divide 2.5 by 1/4. I also know I can use a model to figure out how many groups of 1/4 will be in 2.5. For our model, we're going to start with the 2.5. I'm going to use rectangles to represent our whole units. Here I have 3 whole rectangles, but since I only have 2.5 pounds of hamburger meat, I'm going to divide my last whole unit in half. There's one whole, there's another one whole. Let's just shade that amount so we know what the 2.5 looks like. Now, to find out how many groups of 1/4 I can get out of that, I'm going to redraw each whole unit below. And this time I want to divide each whole unit into groups of 1/4. So I know when I divide a whole into fourths, I first divide it in half, and then I divide each half in half. Finally, put my last unit here. All right. Now let's see groups of 1/4 we actually have. I'm going
How
to
many is
shade the groups of 1/4
4 in the
that
first
actually
one,
fit
and
in
4 in the second one. 20 how many in the last
Twelve.
one?
that there are
2 more,
groups
so that's
of
only
1/4
10.
in one whole, which means there are 8 groups of 1/4 in 2 wholes.
Oh.
In our last half, we see we
See,
can
we only need 2 of the last, we don't need the whole 4.
that makes a total of 10 groups of 1/4 in 2.5. 2.5 divided by 1/4 equals 10. We will be able to make 10 hamburgers from the 2.5 pounds of meat. Let's see how this works in another problem. A plant grows 1/2 inch every week. How many weeks will it take for the plant to grow 1 3/4 inches?
All right, so
I know I can think to myself,
why did they
how many
put 1
groups
and
of half
3/4
are in
first?
1 3/4?
Why
I
didn't they
also know the
put,
division equation 1
that's your
3/4
whole, right? Because you want to know how long it's going to take for 1 3/4 inches, right? So we want to see how many 1/2 are in 1 3/4.
of 1/4 in 2.5. 2.5 divided by 1/4 equals 10. We will be able to make 10 hamburgers from the 2.5 pounds of meat. Let's see how this works in another problem. A plant grows 1/2 inch every week. How many weeks will it take for the plant to grow 1 3/4 inches? I know I can think to myself, how many groups of half are in 1 3/4? I also know the division equation 1 3/4 divided by half equals blank will help me find out. We're going to start by using a model. First, we need to represent our 1 3/4. Again, we're going to use rectangles to represent our whole units. Since we do not have 2 whole units, we have 1 3/4. I'm going to divide my last whole
Good,
unit.
somebody said 7/4.
Me.
Sit
And I'm
down, sit
going to
down.
do
Sit down.
You said what?
1 3/4. Stop. Okay. Let's shade the 1 3/4. Now, to find out how many groups of 1/2 fit into that amount, I'm going to redraw each hole below.
And
And
we're
this
gonna split
time,
it into what?
we need to fold into
Half,
half.
right? Half.
Now, let's count how many groups of half we have all together in our 1 3/4. I'm going to shade the amount of halves that fit into fourths. And we can see we have 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, but here we only have a half of a group of the half that fits into the 1 3/4. That means 1 3/4 divided by 1/2 is 3.5. That means the plant will take 3.5 weeks to grow the 1 3/4 inches. In this lesson, you learned how to divide mixed numbers by fractions using models.
All right. Be quiet. You're gonna watch this one.
Yeah.
Keep
You know
quiet.
how this go. Keep, change, flip. Simple, right? Dividing fractions. Vocabulary. Let's go. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions.
Stop! I don't make you. I'm going to edit that. They're my cousins. They're my cousins. Miss Thompson. Miss Thompson.
Yeah. You know how this goes. Keep, change, flip. Simple, right? Dividing fractions. Vocabulary. Let's go. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. Dividing fractions is easy. That's no lie. You just flip one, yep, then you multiply. Don't flip both, because that'll be strange. You need to keep one exactly the same. Yeah. Then the sign gets changed, division to multiplication, that's okay. Then flip the second fraction like you're on a grill. We multiply what's left, that's really real. Take 3/5 divided by 2/3. Keep, change, flip. That's the word. Keep 3/5 the same, change the sign so we multiply. That's the game. Flip 2/3, we get 3/2. Then we can multiply, and so should you. 3 times 3 is 9, 2 times 5 is 10. 9 tenths can't reduce. That's the end. Why do we flip it? I'll explain it, man. Dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by half. 20 students in your class divided by 2 would be 10 students. All we can do, 20 students in your class times half is 10. You'll see, you get the same thing at the end. Dividing is multiplying by the reciprocal. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the simple rule. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions.
Baby days, you say face.
All right, now we are going to look at some dividing fraction problems, because I still want you to be able to understand how you divide fractions. Okay, now it's a couple of ways that you can divide fractions. What did I tell you you can do? You can do the multiply method, or you can multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, either way, you still can work it out. Now, so I have, let's say I have 3/5 divided by 1/10, right? Now I got two different things I can do. All right. Okay. I can cross multiply 3 times 10, which is what? 30. 5 times 1. And my answer is 6. Okay. Or I can do 3/5 times
6.
Okay, so I got the same thing. Now, you see this right here? What am I multiplying? 3 and 10. What am I multiplying over here? 3 and 10. Same thing. So that's why the butterfly method and this method is the same. Because what I'm telling you is, if I take these two and multiply and take these two and multiply, it's the same as me multiplying by my reciprocal. Okay, it's the same thing. You still multiplying the 3 and the 10 and the 5 and the 1, just like over here, 3 and 10, 5 and 1. So there are 6/10 and 3/5. Why? Because 3/5 looks like this. This is 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. And I want to break it into tenths, right? So I'm going to divide my next part into how many spaces? 4. How many spaces am I going to divide my next 10?
1,
2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, and so I'm going to shade until I get to my 3/5.
How many?
How many did I shade? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups, right? So 3/5 divided by 1/10 is 6. Okay, 3/5 divided by 1/10 is 6. All right. Any questions? All right. Sierra and Amy, pass out the workbook. Okay, you need to practice some problem solving workbooks. Okay, so you can put the workbooks that you got now, you can put those in your book bag. Okay, and you can clear off your desk because you don't need anything else. So put everything else up. All right, last week you did page 59 and 67, so I need these 2 pages to be out also. So find your page 59 and your page 67. Okay, I told you to do 2 workbook pages when I wasn't here last week, so I need you to take those out, and then 59 and 67. That's because you tore them out, so I don't know where you put them after you tore them out. No, she didn't. She didn't take all of them. It wasn't a sub anyway. Sierra. All right. Turn to page 59. Turn to page 59. You should have already tore that one out. Page 59. I'm going to go over a few problems. You should. All right. All right. So your page 59, you should have already done it. I need you to put your name on it in front of me and to me. Page 59. Page 59. Page 67 is the page we're looking at now. Page 59. Page 59. I need 59. You gonna
I gave you mine already.
All right, you can already point out page 59. All right, so let's look at page 67. All right, here you go. All right, let's look at page 67. Now, I should have everybody's page 59. Okay, if I don't have it, put it in this last one up here. Page 59. All right. All right, now let's look at page 67. All right, it says divide with fractions. Page 67. All right. It says the students in Ms. Marco's art class use 5 jars of paint altogether. Each student uses 1/3 jar of paint. How many students are in the class? All right. Now, to answer this question, you need to find out how many 1/3 are in 5. Okay.
15.
You can draw a model to understand the problem. So we got 5 whole blocks, right? Look there, please. Okay, so we have 5 blocks, and we're gonna take those 5 and we're gonna break it into 3 parts. So how many thirds are in 5?
501.
How many thirds are in 5? 15. All right. Number 1 says, explain how the model represents 5 divided by 1/3. Okay. Okay. Good. You have 5 whole blocks. You split them into thirds. You count the blocks, and there's 15. Okay. That's your answer to number 1. You have 5 whole blocks. You split them into thirds. And you count them, and you have 15. That's the answer to number 1. 5 whole blocks divided into 3 parts, and that's 15. Okay, that's the answer to number 1. All right, explain how the model also shows this equation. So what did I do? I took 5 blocks times 3 in each block. That gives me 15. So, there. No. All right. 5 blocks times 3 in each block. That's 15. All right. Andy divided his 1/3 jar of paint equally between 2 projects. What fraction of a jar of paint did Andy use for each project? Explain how to draw a model to find the answer. All right. So what would you have to do first?
Draw
1/3. Okay. So we're gonna draw 1/3. Okay. Now, this is 1/3, right? 1/3. And we're gonna divide that into 2 equal parts, right? Okay. So I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna just cut it in half.
It's gonna get a 12.
So now I have how many?
6.
6 at the bottom, right? And each part is how many out of the 6?
2. Wait.
No.
1.
1. Okay. Right? So I shaded in 1/3. I cut it in half. Now I have 6 parts. Every third is 1 out of 3, 1 out of 3. So that's my answer. 1 out of 6, 1 out of 6. Okay? This part is 1 out of 6. This part is 1 out of 6. Right? Now, 1 out of 6 plus 1 out of 6 is what? 2 out of 6, which is 1/3, right? 2 6s equal 1/3. So I know that my answer is correct. Okay? So that should be your answer for number 3. So you need to write that down.
No, 5 times 3.
Same thing.
Still be good.
Turn around. Okay? All right, that's the first page. So you need to make sure you draw your model. Draw your model. And that's the answers for 1, 2, and 3. All right, let's go to the next. All right, let's go to number 4. Or is this yours? It doesn't have any handwriting on it. It doesn't have anything. Come up there. All right, number 4. All right, let's go to number 4. All right. It says Judy is making a rope ladder. She uses a ½ yard of rope for each step. How many steps can she make with 6 yards of rope?
You got y'all.
All right. Now,
1/2.
how many yards of rope does she have?
1/2. No, 6.
6.
Oh, yeah.
She has 6 yards of rope. What is she going to do with that 6 yards? All right. So we have 6 yards of rope, and we're going to divide that by 1/2, right? So what are we going to do? 6 times 2 equals 12. So she can make 12 steps. Okay, 12 steps.
Oh, I got that right.
All right. Number 5. Where's your paper?
What's talking? 1/4 divided by 2.
No. Y'all, some of y'all just left some stuff in y'all's desk. And I picked it up on Friday when I cleaned up my room. So I don't know what you did with your 2 papers.
That probably was yours.
Look in your book bag and see.
Somebody threw mine away.
Nobody threw it away.
That ain't no mine. Oh, that's the one that said. I thought that was. Mine didn't got you.
All right. Number 5. Harry has 1/4 of an apple pie that he wants to cut into 3 equal slices. What fraction of the whole pie is each slice? So, what is my total? How much apple pie do I have? 1/4. And I want to take this 1/4 and I want to cut it into how many pieces? 3. Right? So that is 1/4 times what?
1/3.
1/3. Which is 1/12. So the answer to number 5 is 1/12. No, 12 and 1/12 is two different things. Amy, you can turn your desk around. All right. That's number 4 and that's number 5. Does anybody have any questions on number 4 and number 5?
I got no 6.
All right. So everybody has 4 and 5.
Yes.
All right. Let's look at number 6. All right. It says Ryan wants to plant 1/5 packet of seeds in each row of his garden. He has 4 packets of seeds. He used the expression 1/5 divided by 4 to find the number of rows he can plant. Explain what is wrong with his expression. Then write an equation to show the correct number of rows. All right, so let's look at that problem. How many packets of seeds are in each row?
4. No, 1/5.
1/5. Okay. How many packets of seeds does he have?
4.
4. So how should I write that problem?
1/5 Divide 4.
Okay. So 4 is going to be divided by 1/5. 1/5 is how many goes in each row. So we want to see how many 1/5s can we get from the package of 4. Not how many 4s can we get from the 1/5. You see what I'm saying? We don't have 1/5 packets of seeds. We have 4 packets of seeds. So if it says he has 4, this is my total. He wants to plant 1/5 packet of seeds. This is a part. Okay, so I have to have my total first divided by my part. So this will be 4 times what? 5, which is 20. So it says, how many rows can he plant? 20 rows.
20.
Okay, 20 rows can be planted. Because he's going to only use 1/5 of a packet for each row. And he has 4 packets. So there's 5/5 in every one packet. So he can do 5 rows per packet. 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay? All right. The next page. All right. Turn to page 72. Turn to page 72. Page 72. All right. On page 72. All right. I'm going to give group 1 problem number 4. Group 2, you get problem number 5.
Miss Thompson, can I
Group 3, problem number 6.
go?
Group 4, problem number 7. All right. Now on page 74. Group 5, problem number 4. Y'all on page 74. Y'all are problem number 5 on page 74. And y'all are problem number 6 on page 74. Okay? So we got 7 problems and we're only gonna do 1 per group. All right? So you only have 1 problem to do.
You only have 4 hours to do what you're talking.
4, 5, 6, 7. And then y'all got 5, 6, 7. Y'all got 7. They got 4, they got 5, 6. Y'all got number 5. So y'all need to work out number 4. It was okay. You don't have to y'all stop writing on my paper. Stop doing that.
You got cheat.
So what?
Dear King Officer King,
Can y'all be quiet?
ma'am.
Kenny is supposed to be suspended today, but he came to school anyway.
Okay, yeah, his grandfather called back after he called. He's on his way to pick him up.
So I don't know where he is now.
Okay, he may have went downstairs. I'll let him know downstairs. Thank you.
Okay. Go spit down. Go spit down.
Come on, Patty. Yeah, she divided I know she did wrong. Wrong. Hey, no, you gotta be a leader. She posed it.
Go back to the seat. Go back to the seat. All right, number 4. Somebody in group 4. Explain number 4. Group 1, explain number 4. Somebody, whoever worked it out or whatever y'all did. Explain what we did for number 4. Five, 6 divided by 112. Okay, so you did 5, 6 divided by 112. All right, tell me what's next, lady. Okay. All right. What's next? 12 times 5.
And that's gonna be 60.
Okay, and then what do you do?
Multiply 60.
All right, Sierra, tell me what's next. Amy, tell me what's next. Reduce, so 60 divided by 6 is what? 10 what? You got to answer your question. What does the question say?
10 customers.
Okay, Brayden, what you say?
10 customers.
10 customers. All right, so you all need to have an answer to number 4 on the board. You got to still get the answers to all of them. But I just asked you to do a certain one, so when I get to your group, you will have that one. But I still need you to get every question. All right, y'all are number 5. So let's explain y'all problem. It says, Carla wants to know how many batches of bird seed she can make with 1/2 cup of sunflower seeds. She puts 1/6 cup of sunflower seeds in every batch. Carla divides 1/2 by 1/6 to find the answer. She says this is the same as multiplying 1/6 by 2. Okay, so tell me what y'all did. So now don't be looking at her. Y'all did what? Y'all added what? Okay, so tell me. Come on, explain. Shemai, what y'all do? Okay, so tell me what you did. Wait. Okay, hold on. You said 1/2 divided by 1/6, and then you did what? 1/2 times 6/1. Okay. 6 divided by 2, which is what? 3. Okay? So, did Carla do that wrong? Did Carla say 1/6 times 2? Did she do that right? No, she didn't do that right. She could have said 1/2 times 6. She flipped the wrong one. She flipped 1/2 to make 2/1. So it says, how many batches can she make? 3 batches. Okay. All right. Number 6 is group 3. All right. So I want you to tell me what you did on number 6. Okay. It says Jared ate 1/4 of a loaf of bread. He cut the rest of the loaf into 1/8 loaf slices. How many slices of bread did he cut? All right. So what are y'all gonna do?
What 4 divided by 1/8?
He ate 1/4. So how much does he have left? It says he cut the rest of the loaf. So what's the rest? If you eat 1/4, how much you got left?
3.
3/4, right? So 3/4 divided by what? Come on, group 3.
1/4.
No.
Read the sentence. He cut the rest of the loaf into 1/8 loaf slices, right? So if he cut it, what am I dividing by?
1/8.
1/8. All right, Brianna, what do you do next? This is my problem. What do you do next? Multiply what? Okay, so I multiply 3 times 8 and get what? Somebody in that group, 3 times 8, come on. What?
3 times 8.
24.
24. All right. And then what?
4 times 1.
4 times 1. What's that? 4. So what's 24 divided by 4? 6 slices. All right. Number 7. This group. It says a running track at a school is shaped like an oval. The track is a 1/2 mile long. Mr. Perez puts a marker down every 8th mile. How many markers does he need? All right. So tell me what y'all did. Come on, group 4. So what comes first?
1/2.
1/2 divided by 1/8. Okay, what y'all do next? Okay, she said 1/2 times 8/1. Okay, what's that? Multiply what? Now, okay. If you change it to multiplication, you can't do the cross method. You gotta multiply cross. Okay, because aren't you gonna do 1 times 8? So there you go. 1 times 8, what's that? 8. And then what you gonna do 2 times 1? There it is. 2 times 1, what's that? 2. So what's 8 divided by 2? 4. So he puts down 4 markers. Okay, so that's 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those are the answers to that page. So make sure you write the answers down, plus write down how to work it out. Okay, write down how to work it out. Don't just write down the answers. Pay attention. Stop, Jakar. Put those pages down and pay attention. All right. Okay, our next page is 74. We got 4 problems, 4, 5, and 6. All right. Jakarian's group. All right, it says, Otis made 1 3/4 cups of oatmeal. He put 2/5 cup of oatmeal to each bowl. How many bowls of oatmeal did he make? All right, what's the first thing I do?
We gotta turn 1
into an inbound fresh.
Which is gonna be
Gonna be 8/5.
All right, divided by.
We got 2 fifths.
All right.
Use the reciprocal.
14.
Okay. So that 8 fifths
Fifth over
times
5.
5 over 2.
It's gonna be 40 over 2.
40 over
40 over
10.
10, which is
4.
4.
4. See, I told you it was 4. You go
4 bowls. All right. Number 5. Juan wants to know how many 1/4 cup servings are in 1 3/8 cups of juice. He uses the expression 12/8 divided by 1/4. What's wrong with this expression? Okay. What's wrong with it?
He did.
I need to hear from them. Say what?
He did 12 over 8, and 1 3/8 cannot go to 12/8, so it's going to be 1/4 divided by 6/16.
Okay. He changed 1 3/8 to 12/8. What's wrong with that? 1 3/8. That doesn't equal 12/8. Why? 1 3/8. What does that equal?
Because
1 3/8. What does that equal? 1 3/8. What does that equal?
You got it.
As an improper fraction, change that to an improper fraction. Turn around, cause she paying attention to everything you do. I don't know if she can't focus or what, but please stop so she can pay attention. Come on, 1 3/8. What does that equal? Make that into an improper fraction. Well, there, go sit down at the table. I'm not gonna tell you again. Anybody, 1 3/8. What does that equal? 11/8. Divided by what? 1/4.
Go ahead, what for?
That is 11/8 times 4 over 1, which is 44/8. How many 8s are in 44?
You had it.
No,
No.
that would be
8
88.
times what is close to 44?
4.
5.
That's
Yeah.
5 and 4 8s, which is 5 1/2. Okay? That's the answer. 5 1/2 servings. Okay? 8 times 1 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11, not 12. That's what he did wrong. All right, last problem, number 6. All right, Zion's group. Let's go. What did you do? All right, it says Carmela mixes 3/4 kilograms of walnuts, 1/2 kilogram of almonds, and 1/4 kilogram of pecans together. She divides the mixed nuts into 3/10 kilogram bags. How many bags of mixed nuts does she have? All right. So what are you supposed to do? What's the first thing you have to do? No.
Do 3/4 divided by 1/12.
No.
I'm not talking to you.
Jakari, you don't have to do all that. See, if you not, let me handle that. That way it'll keep you out of the trouble. Just stop. What do you have to do first? Cannot divide anything, multiply anything until you do something.
Find the reciprocal.
What?
Find
Add all of them up first. First, you don't even know how many kilograms you got total. All right, so 3/4 plus 1/4, and 1/2 is how many fourths? 1/2 is how many fourths? 2/4.
How?
2 times 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 4. 2 is half of 4, right? 2 plus 2 is 4.
Oh!
Okay. So that's 6/4, right? Total. And then it says I'm gonna divide these into 3/10 kilogram bags. So 3/4 divided by 3/10 is 60 divided by 12, which is 5 bags. Okay, 5 bags. All right. This is what I want you to do now. I want you to tear out page 75 and 76. And I want you to put your name on it. Tear out 75 and 76. Put your name on it. Put your name on it. 75 and 76. That's the next problem. Put your name on it. Amy and Sierra, take the books back up. I'm not erasing anything else anymore. What's the name? You erase it. Y'all playing like little kindergarten. I'ma send you to a kindergarten room. I don't know what y'all do. I just wish y'all would stop. Okay, everybody needs a newsletter and everybody needs a homework. Okay, everybody needs a newsletter and a homework. Ladies, take up these pages for me. Take all of them. Layla's gonna come around and take up your page 75. Make sure you have your name on it. The homework I'm passing out. No, we did that. That you just keep that. Take up page 75. Here's your homework paper. 67, 68, because we already went over the weekend. All right. Layla, taking up page 75. You have your homework and your newsletter. Once you get all your stuff together, you can line up. Let's go. Come on, boy. I gave y'all 4. Everybody got to do this. All right, everybody's page 75 needs to be given to me.
What about 68?
You got to get that. Let's go. Let's go.
2 plus 2.
Come on. Let's go.
I'm from New York.
What?
Get right.
Wow, that's 6 times. Oh, it's like too much.
That's 67, 68, keep. No. So the same 62. I think that's the problem of the day. Notebook. Okay, I gave you a handout on it today, so you don't need to copy it down. All you gotta do is write out the answers on your own paper. Okay? It's the problem of the day. All right, so you don't have to write it down. All you have to do is write the answers down. It's already written down for you. So it shouldn't take you no more than 15 minutes to write the answers down. Okay, so it goes in your notebook. It's all 4 days. So when you come in here, you know exactly what you're supposed to do. Okay, you don't have to rewrite the problem. You can just write problem 1, answer problem 2 like that. It's still gonna go into your math notebook. You're not gonna have enough space right on here. So that's why I told you, take out your practice your notebook so you can write it down. You don't need to copy, they already gave it to you. You just work out the answers to the problems, okay? In your notebook. Like you're gonna write them down in your notebook, you just don't work it out. Cause you don't have enough paper, enough stuff to work it out on your notebook.